Hi guys, I wanted to make this video on rehabilitation of patellofemoral pain and mainly focusing on exercise therapy for patellofemoral pain. Whether you look at the practice guidelines published in 2019 or patellofemoral consensus statement that was published in 2018, we know that exercise therapy is the best intervention in the short, medium and long term in the management of patellofemoral pain. Yet the problem is the recommendations in terms of specificity of exercises don't seem to exist. Also, when you consider the fact that patellofemoral pain is a very common condition in active population as well as in a sedentary population, the rehabilitation needs for these individuals are very different. And therefore, our exercise programs need to match the need of that particular individual. Further to that, details that are very important in terms of exercise prescription, such as time under tension when you do an exercise, or the number of repetitions that you do, the load magnitude that you work against. These kind of details are few and far in between when you look at research papers that have looked at management of patellofemoral pain. Of course, over the years there have been a few good papers, but lots of them haven't given us that detail. What is for certain is that you can have people in different subgroups, people with patellofemoral pain who have flexibility impairments, people who have muscle performance deficits, which is really the kind of group that I'm going to try and focus my attention on in this particular short video. And when we're talking about muscle performance deficits, we must also appreciate that there are multiple domains of muscle performance, whether it's endurance, strength, or rate of force development. And some very recent papers have also highlighted the fact that people with patellofemoral pain do have rate of force development deficits, whether you talk about the hip abductors or quadriceps muscle, for example. So let me introduce you to shift through the gears. It's a phrase that I coined to help appreciate the fact that we must try and target multiple domains of muscle performance when rehabilitating patellofemoral pain. Now, gear one would be to target the trunk and hip muscles, so that's both the abdominal muscles as well as the hip focused exercises to try and help improve the proximal muscle control. There may be a group of patients who may benefit from just focusing on working on hip and trunk exercises to begin the rehabilitation plan, particularly in those instances where the irritability of their patellofemoral pain is quite high, because there is some evidence to say that these people might actually respond better by initiating a program around the pelvis and the hip. Their pain levels might get better at a faster speed rather than introducing them to quadriceps exercises at the same time too. Let's talk about the second gear, which to me is quadriceps strength training. Although we can start it at the endurance spectrum, we can shift quickly to a strength spectrum, so increasing the load magnitude and reducing the number of repetitions, of course, and again spending a good 5 seconds at least as time under tension with each repetition of the exercise. Now, gear 3 in my shift through the gears would be to work on rate of force development, and that would be both your hip and trunk muscle exercises as well as within the quadriceps muscle group. Now, this is definitely a muscle domain that we haven't focused very much on historically, and given the evidence that we have now, in recognizing the fact that rate of force development in a muscle group, in any muscle group, is important, even in sedentary population, it becomes really necessary that we incorporate incorporate this into our exercise routine. What can you do to improve rate of force development? Now, what we know is that if we can get muscle contraction to be done at a faster speed, but you may need to drop the load or load magnitude to about, let's say, 30%, 40% of one repetition max, but get one to do an exercise at a much faster speed, particularly the concentric phase of the muscle contraction. And that would certainly help improve the rate of force development. And my fourth gear is plyometric training. Now, this is, of course, in the more active population who have demands such as getting back to sporting activity, whether it is running or any other kind of sport. It is really necessary that we appreciate that when you strength train, you're of course building strength, you're building capacity, but the patellofemoral joint is going to be subjected to loads that are probably far greater than what you would get when you strength train an individual, and hence introducing them to plyometric training before and alongside them returning to sports sometimes is a definitely worthwhile option, and in some cases a necessary option. So there you have it, my shift through the gears. Now, it is not location specific, as I said, and there are other things that you need to take into account before you come to the conclusion that strength training is necessary in this individual. But if you have seen muscle performance deficits, you do need to think about various domains of muscle performance, and that's what the shift through the gears analogy or phrase will take you through. Good luck, and thank you for watching.